Welcome all new and returning players. For those who don't know me, I am Trago. I'm currently the #1 coach on Metafy, as well as the current rank 1 Wu Chen. And today, I will be breaking down the easiest but hardest fighting mechanic in the game, neutral. Neutral is the core of all fighting aside from movement. My movement guide will give you the tools to begin mastering neutral. I highly recommend watching the guide before or after this video. I will link it in the description below. To begin, all basic attacks have a timing point. Consider 0.1 as the time base of all attacks, and 0.1 can be held all the way to 0.9. Anything further is considered a 1.0, or 1 second, which is a part of the blue focus category, and depending on the weapon, your charge points can vary from 0.1 to 3.0. But anything relating to a blue focus can be countered, which I will be talking about later in the video. But back to the topic at hand. During the hold points before the blue focus, your character becomes armored, safe from all basic staggers. This is the greatest tool you possess for multiple reasons. While armoring, you receive X amount of damage reduction while in this state. Armoring through one hit of damage could be the complete turning point in a fight. Winning neutral is defined by how long you are holding compared to how long the enemy is holding. For the majority of fights, you do not want to be the aggressor unless you know you can get away with it. This is why the majority of players lose neutral quickly. They are too focused on throwing the first hit in that 0.1 to 0.5 hold time. Given this knowledge, let's pretend blue focuses do not exist. There is only hold time. You have options, but there are multiple things to keep in mind, and you should always go with the better or safer option. For the majority, there are very few things you can react to in Naraka. Most of what you do will need to be predicted. The prediction aspect of neutral brings a whole field of options to the table. I am better off releasing attacks at the same time my opponent does. This will result in weapons clanking, taking minimal to 0 damage. Sometimes you may even clank 2 to 6 times before a true trade can begin. This is because the player does not want to be the first to initiate complete contact, or they are trying to identify how long the player is armoring to adjust to their specific timings. Given that scenario, taking turns will change consistently throughout the fight, from offense to defense, defense to offense. As the aggressor of the fight, I've identified that my opponent is max holding his basic attack. That gives me options. Now I can take the first strike and quickly dodge away. My opponent sees that I have attacked, but since they didn't predict how quickly I would dodge, they are left with their attack being thrown blind. If you are fast enough in returning the attack, you will win neutral. You might be asking, what if I was the defender? What are my options in that situation? Each attack, whether it's 2 horizontals or 2 verticals, and so on, still applies to the 0.1, 0.9 mechanic. Given that knowledge in the previous scenario, simply because my attack didn't hit or stagger the opponent does not mean I need to move at all. I can armor the second stage of the attack and attempt to clank with the opponent, creating a stalemate, forcing both players back to their beginning role, and the mind game continues. Like I said before, these turns will consistently shift during a fight. It's up to you to identify or adapt to when it's happening. Identifying when these moments are happening will take some trial and error, but do not get discouraged. It will come with time. Coming back to reality, we need to remember blue focuses exist, and the only way to fight against a blue focus user is with blue focuses, dodging, and parrying. Which brings our last mechanic into play, called hold checking. Hold checking forces players to either A, release a blue focus, B, parry, or C, dodge. This puts you in a good position. You are reducing your own risk this way by forcing the player to commit to one of these actions. If they release, what's the risk since you will clank? If they make the mistake of dodging or parrying early, this allows you to pump out free damage or give you a free neutral win. That about wraps up the extent of the neutral guide. I hope everyone was able to learn something to take onto the battlefield. The limits of Naraka are endless. I'm currently at over 4,000 hours played, and every time I play, I'm reminded at how much potential this game truly has, and I hope you all will feel the same. Any questions, feel free to comment, or jump over to Twitch, where I am live almost daily, willing to answer any Naraka questions you may have. Take it easy.